Hello everybody and welcome back to It All Depends on the Situation. I'm your host, Eric, and today we're going to do another Retro Throwback Part 2 with video games. And I'm joined by my guest host today, Shawn.
How's it going?
Yeah. Been meaning to finally get Shawn on the pod. Now he's finally here, so I am just thrilled for this one.
Yep, we're here. We're going.
Yeah. I made so many references to things. I'm sure you've heard the other pods too, and probably sit there like...
I listened to them.
Yeah. All the hot takes. So
there were a couple.
Mm-hmm. But reflecting back on the whole retro video game thing, like what video games kind of stuck out in your mind, like when you were growing up? Because you were allowed to have all kinds of video games and everything, where I wasn't.
So I don't know that I can remember the very first thing that I've ever played, but one that really sticks out in my head was Mega Man 4.
That's a good series.
So we had a regular Nintendo and a Super Nintendo when I was real young, like 5 or 6. And I can remember playing that one on like a Saturday morning with my dad.
Really?
And eating bugles, like the first time I can remember those things as well. But that one was really fun. And I remember being trash at those for so long. And finally like being like 10 or 12 and beating one and just being like so excited. Like, Dad, I finally beat one.
Yep.
Cool.
Those Mega Man games, they were tricky too. Oh my God. The older ones for the original NES. Oh my God.
Yeah, just crazy like timing with the platforming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got my ass kicked all the time with those ones. So I remember coming over to your house a lot because you were the only one I think that had the Super Nintendo in the neighborhood, and you had Mega Man X. And that game, to me, that was really my first attempt at like viewing a Mega Man. I'm like, holy shit, he's got all kinds of power-ups and everything. I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, that game is great. That's one of my favorite games of all time. And that was one, too, that I remember beating that one. I think I was in, like, 6th grade and finally beating it and just being so happy, having it from, like, the age of, like, 8, maybe earlier.
Taking down Sigma.
It. Yeah. Nice. I think I can actually remember going to Toys R Us and buying that one.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember how they had, like, the setups with all the Super Nintendo games and they'd have them stacked on top.
I wouldn't know. I was never a Toys R Us kid.
You never went there? Oh, that's right. You talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that
was KB
great.
Toys, baby. So
they had
sounds nice though.
Yeah. Well, it was like a bigger scale of that, right? Like the video game section, you'd go in there and it was over in the one corner and you had to go through this little like doorway. It was like big enough for like 2 people probably to get through, and they had just rows of like Super Nintendo and Genesis games. And like the top, like the new stuff and like that top selling stuff was like up on top of the racks. Imagine like just regular like store shelves, right? That probably come up like 4 or 5 feet. And then on top of there is like featured in cases like the new cool stuff. And I can specifically remember buying that one and Super Metroid.
Nice.
And being like super excited on the way home, looking through the manual, and just being so hyped by the art on the front. Like, this game's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah. How much did the game cost back then too? I gotta ask. Was it around the same price or like
no,
they have
I
today?
think it was like way cheaper, like $30. I want to
Really?
say $25-$30. I'd have to ask my brother or my dad because they'd probably remember more. But and I say that because I remember buying GameCube games and those being like $40, being like, this is so expensive.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember games. Oh my gosh, like that was before I could have a chance to really buy games because it's going back in like what the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis era stuff. So I really didn't have like a real price point of how much these games really costed back then. So.
Yeah, and I was pretty young, so I didn't really have much of a concept of that. And we were a little behind, too. Like, I think the 64, when did that come out? Like, 96?
That was 96. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we were a couple years behind on that, because I remember I didn't even get one of those until probably, like, a year or 2 before the next generation came out. I remember getting my 64 for Christmas one year, and that was probably, like, 2002. So that would have been like a year or 2 before the PS2 and all that stuff came out.
Right. Yeah, because the next gen was on the way. Because I ended up picking up, I think, a GameCube in 2003 when it came out. But actually, GameCube might have came out in 2002. So I'll have to look back on that one.
I can't remember. I remember.
They all run together.
Yeah. I do remember that Christmas, though, because I really wanted, like, the whole time, like, my mom was like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want? I wanted Xbox with Halo. And like a month before, I saw a commercial for Luigi's Mansion, and I was like, "Nope, I want a game. I'm sorry, I want a GameCube with Luigi's Mansion instead." And I don't know how she did it, but she did it. She just pulled that 180 complete left hand turn and got that. And
last minute, like, oh, by the way, Christmas, I don't want this anymore. I want the other one.
yeah, I remember getting that and being like super hyped. Though I don't know if that was the greatest decision in hindsight, but
honestly, though, I think it was, because if you look at the price of, like, because you originally wanted the Xbox with Combat Evolved,
yeah,
you can go buy that at a used game store now for like $10.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion, on the other hand, that thing's still skyrocketing in price. It's probably like $100 right now or more.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't have sold. I sold almost all my GameCube games. I think the only ones I have are like
Lost in the GameStop shuffle.
Yeah, they were.
Oh,
they were. And the worst one is probably Pokemon Coliseum. Because I saw when you sent that to the chat the other day, I was like,
yeah. I've been literally on the hunt to buy that thing because I've never owned it. I've rented it from, I think, Family Video once upon a time back in the early 2000s. But that game in particular is selling for $200+. It's nuts now.
And even when I sold it, I still got like $50 out of it because it was expensive back then.
Oh, yeah.
And I sold it probably 2018. So I remember I had a ton of retro stuff. Like, I sold that Halo Xbox, that green one that I had.
Oh, yeah, the green one.
Yeah.
Cool.
I sold that and all the Xbox games that I had. I sold a bunch of Super Nintendo carts that I didn't like. And I sold a bunch of PS2 games and GameCube games because, like, I was in a bad spot as far as money was that for a while there. And so I just sold a bunch of retro stuff, and I got a couple $100 out of it, but it was just not, I probably shouldn't have done it because I didn't like need to sell it to make rent, but I was like, just in case, I should sell these because they're just sitting around collecting dust, and now I see the prices of them now, and that was stupid.
They've turned into classics. It's like, damn it, hindsight's 20/20 type of thing.
But the ones that I do play, I kept, and like just ones that had real sentimental value to me, I kept.
Oh yeah,
but like
games that remind you of like when you're playing with your dad on a weekend day back in like during your childhood.
Exactly. Yeah, like that Mega Man I mentioned at the beginning. I still have that somewhere in with the Nintendo stuff.
I meant to ask you, what is your favorite Mega Man game? Since you brought it up,
it's got to be X.
Got to be X.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
X1 or 4, and I know there's like a weird gap in there, but 1 was great. Like we had that one. We rented 2 at some point around like that was probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 when we rented that one. Never bought it. I think we rented it from Video Safari. Funny enough.
Oh my god, the Great Mandela Effect that no one's gonna believe actually existed.
And then I played 4 at my brother at the time, his girlfriend, at her house, and that game was. I remember it was like blew my mind because it was for the PS1.
Oh yeah.
So it looked way better than Super Nintendo, and it played crazy. And you could play as Zero. I think it was you might have been able to play as him in 3, but I hadn't played 3 at that point.
Yeah. Didn't he have like a sword or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that one, and her brother ended up giving it to me because I played it at their house and I thought it was so dope. And he was like, just take it. And okay.
Nice.
And then ended up getting 3 years later, which I still have because for some reason it's like super rare.
Yeah. All the original Mega Man games I think are pretty rare because I don't ever recall ever playing the first one because I played a bunch of like a couple of the other ones you kind of mentioned there. I think
the very first Mega Man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. The box art.
The box art looks like a hilarious like old school anime.
Yeah, it's like a dude holding a gun. Like he doesn't even have the.
Yeah, it doesn't even have like the blast shooter.
Which I forget why. I had heard or read at some point why that happened. And I can't remember why, but it's funny. Like the artist had never even seen or played the game.
That's because at that point you have no visual reference. He's just like, all right, here we're going to tell you what it looks like. Just draw what you think. All right.
Blue guy with a helmet that shoots stuff. All right, got you. But no, it's got to be the first one for sure. I'm
going to look that up.
It's
just
so
to look at the cover art.
So yeah,
because I know what you're talking about.
It looks so weird, and the way the guy is drawn too. Like his arms are like. He's standing at this weird, like almost like cowboy type pose, and his face looks like so uncomfortable. It's really weird. And he's got I want to say yellow in his color too, which isn't even let's see, Mega Man.
Found Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 1.
There's this guy.
I've never seen that. But that's not it. Here it is. Look at this.
Yep, that's the one.
So
he's got the freaking gun.
so weird. Like
he honestly looks like a character you'd see on like Tron.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were going for. He's probably just like, well, they made Tron, so we'll go with that.
Way more like a Tron character.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese one, Rockman. There you go.
He's got different names. Actually, the Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo went by like a different name over in Japan too. They called it the Famicom.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like an abbreviation for family console or something.
I think it's supposed to be family computer.
But yeah, it was the Famicom was the NES, the regular Nintendo, and then the Super Famicom, which was actually what we call the Super Nintendo Entertainment System here, the SNES.
Yeah.
So, more fun facts. Woo.
Yeah. But no, that's got to be it for me. I still play that game to this day.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic. I remember going over to your house because you had all the cool Nintendo games in the neighborhood growing up. And I remember playing Pokemon at your house like freaking crazy. I felt kind of bad because you'd be playing with my younger brother Ryan, who was more around your age, and you guys would be out there playing in the woods or something like that because we grew up out in the country. And I'd be sitting there in Sean's living room just hammering away at like Pokemon Red version going, oh my God, this game's amazing.
Yeah.
Sitting there like spending many summer days just slamming away at that thing. I'm sure your dad was probably shaking his head going, what's with this neighbor kid?
I don't know. He never made a big deal about it, so.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. So it was good memories to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that thing was cool, the Super
Game Boy? Oh my God.
I remember me and our buddy Blake would always just like lose our shit over like you could pause the game, like you could draw on those games. I don't know if you remember that or not, but we just stupid as shit on like Mortal Kombat. We just like pause the game and just like draw all over like Johnny Cage and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That was another one that got me introduced to Mortal Kombat. Was you bought Mortal Kombat 2, and that was my first Mortal Kombat game I really played.
Yeah,
and I remember just seeing all the fatalities, and you knew all the moves and everything. I'm just like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah, because I don't know where they came from, if we had always had them, or if my brother got them from somebody, or like if they stole them. Look, I don't know. But all I remember is one day, because we had like 3 or 4 games for it. And then he came home one day, and he had like this case full of games, like 10 or 12 games.
Yeah.
Like in almost like a binder type thing. It was really weird.
Huh.
But Mortal Kombat 2 was one of them that was in there, along with, I think F-Zero might have been one of those ones as well. But
that's another legendary one that we would always play and laugh our asses off, jumping off that ramp, out of bounds and exploding and just absolutely losing our shit.
Yeah, I don't know why that was so funny, but it really was. Just seeing it.
I think
Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think for me it was like so funny because it was like, why is this a thing that you can do in the game?
Right?
And just like it just seemed to my child brain at the time like something that shouldn't have been able to be done.
Like there was really no point for that ramp even being in the middle of the lane too, because like you weren't jumping over a particular platform or something. It's just like a little bump.
I mean, you could jump over other people, I guess, but but
when they hit the ramp before you, so you're both jumping at once. Like how you?
I mean, if somebody went around it, right?
Yeah.
And they were, I don't know.
That's what I mean.
That game was weird.
I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what the? And that's the nice thing too. I've still got that game.
Yeah,
I do.
I think I might have it as well.
So
great soundtrack.
We can fire that thing up after we're done with the pod here.
There you go.
So just for old time's sake, oh my god,
jump off the ramp one more time.
Oh my god, yeah, we spent hours on that game too. Yeah, we had a lot of good fun with the Super Nintendo. You had one of the rarer games too, that Super Mario RPG.
Oh yeah,
that's a super rare one now. So if you still held on to that game, oh my god, keep that.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I do have that one, and like I said, that Mega Man one that's rare, but my Super Nintendo has like something's been wrong with it for years.
Really?
Yeah, it's not the original one that I had. That one did eventually die. But I remember I bought a new one, and something's wrong with the contacts because like certain games, like sprites and like even layers of it won't load right. Like it's really weird. Like if you play like Mario All-Stars on it, the background will load.
Oh.
Mario and the enemies will load, but the environment won't load.
Wild.
Yeah, it's
so it's just jumping around with no background?
With no foreground, so you can't see the ground, you can't see the holes. You just have to know where everything is. You can't see the pipes, the blocks, nothing.
Mario difficulty impossible?
Yeah, like only the most hardcore Mario players can beat this version.
Tell you what, with some of the levels I've seen in the Mario Maker, though, I don't know how these people do it. Oh my god.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
I had Mario Maker 1 for the Wii U, right?
I think it was that.
And because I had actually started watching a guy stream, and I was like, this game looks like a blast. Like, nah, it's so hard. Like, he would play the, I think then it was called the 100 Mario Challenge.
Oh my god, I remember that.
And like, you got these ridiculous levels and you have 100 lives to try to beat. I think it was only 5 levels. I think level 2 was the furthest I ever got into it because they're just ridiculous.
They were nuts. I remember seeing a bunch of live streams. I think Markiplier has a few of those too, where he would go down there and he'd be just burning through lives like crazy. Like the way they'd set up these levels, it'd just be impossible.
And I don't know how much you know about that game, but they being Nintendo would like patch, like they get really upset in Mario Maker for some reason about glitches.
Really?
Especially if the level has to be beaten through a glitch.
Huh.
Like they'll go back and patch the glitch, but they won't remove the level.
Huh.
So like you could run into a level that you literally can't beat anymore because
that glitch is there.
They took the glitch out. Yeah.
So what's the point of having the level then at that point?
I don't know, but it's happened before, and I saw it happen like to that dude on stream before as well.
Wild.
Yeah, weird.
Mamma mia! While we're on the topic of talking about Mario, the Italian plumber, I thought it'd be a good time to get another plug-in for one of my audiobook narrations. Now for sale on Audible, check out Wines of Italy by Italian Wines, and narrated by me, Eric Brown. This audiobook is actually pretty cool. It takes you through all the different wine regions of Italy and talks about the certain specialties of each one. So if you're curious about these wines in the different regions of Italy, definitely check it out. Now available on Audible. Let's go. Back to the podcast.
I know Nintendo's very particular about their stuff and licensing too, so they've always been pretty, secretive about everything and lock and key.
Yeah.
So Pokemon companies like that too. They tend to go after people a lot.
Are they owned by Nintendo?
I think they're their own independent thing. That's why I think Niantic is technically through Pokemon Company.
Okay.
And that's why it was kind of funny when Pokemon Go first aired, everybody was dumping all their stock money, I think, into Nintendo.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Nintendo came out like, guys, we don't own Pokemon. And they just like, I think it bottomed out. They're just like, hey, wait, come back.
Just kidding, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
No, we'll take your stock, please.
Yeah, right. Keep raising our price.
It was wild. But yeah, Nintendo was a classic growing up. Like I said, I was always a fan of Sonic. You've always were a huge fan of Mario growing up. So
yeah, well, I mean, we didn't have Sonic stuff.
Yep. But we'd always go back to our party games we play. You were like the champion of Mario Party. I've never seen someone kick so much ass like you did to me, Ashley, and I think who was it? We were playing with? I think Jeremy too.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, 4-player Mario Party game. He ended up getting every single star. Like what was it? Like 7 to 11
I don't
stars.
remember. It was
an absolute game. Just like drudging.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, my cousin is actually better than me.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's.
Does he have the belt? I know you guys created a Mario Party champion belt.
Yeah, I think the last time we played, he won again. But
it's gotta be crazy. Oh my god.
We used to do them like every couple months, like tournaments of it, and he was just ridiculous at those games.
Any particular Mario Party you favor over the others?
Oh boy, I think it's 2. I think it's 2. Yeah, where they all have the costumes.
Oh yeah.
I actually really like 4 because that was like he had the N64 ones, and when I got my GameCube, one of the earlier games I want to say I got for it was Mario Party 4. So I got really good at that one. Like nobody can beat me at that one. But
nobody can beat you all the other ones anyway. So
yeah, well, in that group you'd be surprised. I've lost plenty of times within that group. But no, I really like 2 because each map is like a different theme and the characters are all wearing different costumes.
Yeah.
And like it just I don't know why it's like just takes it up just a little extra notch for me. And that one has a lot of good games too, because they brought back like all the good games from the first one and then added in new ones too that were fun. So I really like that one.
Nice. Yeah, they had a good formula for Mario Party. So the thing always drove me nuts is like you can never pick the direction you get to go. Because I know you get like the little dice that's spinning above your head and you hit the button and it'll, Mario or whoever character will go up and like bop it and it'll give you like, anywhere between like 1 to 10?
Yeah.
So depending if there's bonuses or not in the later games. So
yeah, 2. I guess I should say too. One of the reasons why I like it a lot is I think it's the last one that doesn't have the magic lamp or golden pipe or whatever the fuck you want to call it. That just you buy it and then it just takes you right to the star. Because that's kind of cheesy.
Yeah, well, you could hose somebody because they're like right next to the star. Next turn they're gonna be here. Nope, just kidding. Here's the genie.
Which like you can debate it either way. They're just like, oh, you got to play around it, or it's a whole other element of strategy of the game, blah blah blah. But the game has so much chance in it, anyways.
So it does. It's random.
Come on. But that one's really good.
Oh yeah. And flipping the script here, once again because I had a Sega Dreamcast, I was the only guy in the neighborhood who ended up getting that thing, and it went obsolete like a year and a half after I bought it.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then I get picked up Sonic Shuffle, which is like the Sonic equivalent to Mario Party. And that was kind of a cool little card game where you could basically, on the little virtual memory unit, it gave you a little display that showed what your cards were, and no one else could see that except for you, which I thought was a really cool feature.
Yeah, that was cool.
And you could choose what direction you get to go. The problem with Sonic Shuffle, though, is it's very clunky. A lot of the games are heavily unbalanced, like Sonic DJ, where it's like, if you're trying to survive on that record player, you're just done.
Isn't it a little buggy, too?
Oh, my God, incredibly buggy. Like, the random accidents, like events that happen, like the one where like you get caught in a crocodile head and you have to like constantly smash the A and the B button to try and get out of it.
Yeah.
And it just like, I've only seen one person get out of that thing. It's just nuts. So horribly unbalanced, but yeah, the more fun game, believe it or not, would probably be Mario Party.
Yeah. Which is kind of a shame because like there are a lot of elements to it that I think are changed up enough for Mario Party or they go like a little more in depth, a little more complexity, which makes the game cool, I think. But the real heart of Mario Party is the mini games.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't have good mini games that people want to play and that are fun to play,
yeah, it's a dead game.
Yeah, exactly. So
now I never, like I said, I tried playing Mario Party. My one friend in the neighborhood that actually, or I guess he was kind of like in an adjacent neighborhood, Mark Conti, was my other childhood friend growing up. He ended up having an N64 back in like, the mid 90s, and he had Super Smash Brothers. He had Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
And I'm more partial to Mario Kart 64 because of him.
Yeah.
So compared to Mario Party, because he didn't get that till way later. But I remember playing the battle sequence on that game with the 3 balloons. That was a blast. Be flying around and get like a red turtle shell on the side of your go-kart. Damn it!
You mentioned Super Smash, so I have to bring up a memory because it still sticks out in my mind because I thought it was so funny. My dad, he used to wake me up in the morning, and the N64 was in my room, and occasionally he would like play it, like when he was like waking me up.
Oh yeah.
And I remember he came in and woke me up one day, and he started playing it, and I remember waking up to see him like, dude, check it out, like we're about to get a new character, and it was like him like about to fight like Jigglypuff.
That's right. Yeah, the original game, the original Super Smash had like 4 unlockable characters, and like the easiest one to unlock was Jigglypuff.
Yeah, which is like it makes it extra funny. But like
we're getting a secret character.
Yeah,
watch this.
He would do stuff like that though. Like every once in a while, he would just get like the urge to like play some games. And I remember 2 other specific instances that were crazy. Like one like Saturday or Sunday morning, he just pulled out Star Fox. Played it start to finish and just beat it.
Shit.
And I remember just like sitting there like, holy shit, this game is so hard, and Dad's just wrecking it right
whizzing
now.
through it.
And then another time was I'd gone over on a Saturday night to your guys' house and stayed the night. And I come home, it's probably like 8 or 9 in the morning, and he's playing Mega Man X, and he's at the final boss, and he was like, I can't beat it. I've been trying to beat it all night. And like that is crazy to me because my dad like never stays up. So for me to think that like he like got to like he just played the game all night,
like ever since you left, and he's just like the final boss again. Although to be fair, that final boss in X was just nuts.
It is tough, and unless you know that. So it's kind of interesting and kind of weird at the same time that the final boss, each stage does actually have a weakness, like the rest of the bosses do.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't know that,
then you're basically just boom.
And he does so much damage.
Well, not just that, because he also had to fight his dog, I think, before all that, right?
Yeah, the final boss of that one is 3 stages, so it's the dog, him, and then him and, like, some giant fucking mech.
I remember I got there, and, like, I guess you can do, like, I think it's the Street Fighter, Hadouken!
Yeah.
And I was like, I cannot do this! Like, this is the hardest freaking combo! I give the controller to Shawn, and just first try.
Shot's it.
Hadouken! And, like, kills the puppy in one shot. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, stuff like that I miss from old games, though, even though it's, like, kind of goofy. Like, but it was a secret. You had to, I think, have every armor and weapon upgrade
in order to do that thing.
Yeah, to unlock it. And for some weird reason, you had to die there. Like, it was at the end of Armored Armadillo stage, and you have to have all the gear, all the sub-tanks, and then die there like 4 times. And then the 4th or 5th time, the capsule will be there to get it.
Huh.
And you can only do the Hadouken if you have full health.
Whoa.
Which makes it a bit annoying, too. But it does it one-shots everything.
Yeah. I was going to say a one-hit kill. That against Sigma would just bring him down.
Yep. Ugh. Which I've seen, like, I used to So a couple years ago, I got into watching like speed running, like pretty heavily, and that was kind of interesting too. Like some people will do runs of it where like pure 100%, so you get everything and the Hadouken, and then just watch them go through the final boss stages, just like setting it up and they're perfect because of course it one shots them, so it's the fastest thing to do.
Yep. So it's crazy watching these people just, slam through. Although I remember I watched a bunch of speed runs with that Taz software.
Oh, Taz, yeah.
Like if you watch, what is it, the Super Mario 64 speed runs, those are just nuts.
Yeah.
They'll sit there and like do a thing where they'll jump forward on a staircase and go, yeah, and they'll just like fuse through the wall.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the?
Yeah, a funny one that you should watch if you've never watched it is Donkey Kong 64.
They do the Taz run on it?
There's probably Taz runs out there, but even just the ones with people doing it are funny because I didn't know this until I watched, I think it was an AGDQ run of it, which, do you know what AGDQ is?
Nope, no idea.
It's, I think it stands for Awesome Games Done Quick, and it's a...
Good acronym.
Right. They do it every year, and it's like a charitable thing.
I noticed a lot of those tend to be, because I've seen a guy doing a Pokemon Blue speed run.
Yeah.
So.
And they're just live speed runs of it.
Cool.
But anyways, I didn't know that apparently Donkey Kong 64 was like super rushed.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of like clipping that you can do, like going through walls and shit, and it's like super easy to do because the game was like really rushed and they didn't have time to like test everything.
I was gonna say that was Rare, right? Rare was going like fucking crazy because they were making Banjo-Kazooie and
Perfect Dark.
Yeah,
I think
a bunch of games, and like now it's like
did they do GoldenEye as well?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure.
I can't remember the logo that are at the beginning of that one, but I feel like they might have been behind that.
But I know Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64 have a very similar like play style.
Yeah.
Although the one has like Jinzos.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Donkey Kong 64, a lot of gamers actually said that like that killed the platformer genre because there were so many collectibles in that game. It was just maddening. Because I think there was somewhere of like almost 7,000 different things you could collect in the game, from like golden bananas to like different colored bananas with each individual character. Then you had to also collect all the fairies. Aren't
there like puzzle pieces too?
In that game? I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I played that
Banjo,
one.
And I'm just confused.
I do like Donkey Kong 64 though. It was a great game. And then I got introduced to that game the hard way because when you first plug that game in, it brings up the stupid expansion slot. If you got the old battery pack in the N64, you're screwed. Until you get that stupid expansion thing. What I think it expands like an extra 2 megabytes or some shit.
Yeah,
it's something
very comical now, but
before,
same thing happened to me. I remember going to Funko Land over in Canton and buying it. It was used.
Got Donkey Kong, baby.
Yeah, I was so hyped. Can't play it. Just comes up with a fucking message on the screen with the damn expansion pack like spinning around on it.
Taunting
you need this, asshole. Awesome.
And back then, that thing was like what? I don't remember how much that sucker was.
I think it was like another $15 or $20 for the expansion pack thing.
But still,
I don't even remember where I ended up getting it from.
That on top of the game, it's like, are you kidding me?
Like, it probably says, I'm sure it says on the packaging for Donkey Kong, but it was used, so I had like no way of knowing.
Yep. I'm surprised. I'm sure they packaged like a few Donkey Kongs with the expansion pack.
They might have, yeah.
So, but yeah, whenever because I think I went to go rent it one day from Video Safari, and it would just like, basically did that to me. I'm like, shit.
Do you even know if there are any other games that were like that? Because that's the only one that I can think of. But
there was another one. I might have it upstairs. I think one of the games I have. What the heck was it? Turok? Turok 2, maybe?
Maybe.
I know there were a few other games that were like that, but Mario or Donkey Kong 64 is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So that's the one that's always like basically damning you. It's like, hey, you want to play?
Man, I was so mad.
That's so mad. Bullshit. That pissed me off as much as like the midnight release of Master Chief Collection. When I realized that like you have to then download the entire game before you can even play it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's bogus. Like,
that's the thing about like older games. You could really just plug them in outside of Donkey Kong 64 and play.
Yeah.
And the newer games are just like, no, you got to wait and download everything first and be connected to the internet at all times.
Yeah, but I will say one thing that's not too bad about that now is that they'll let you download like the whole game, and then like day one it's just like a 2 meg patch that like unlocks it. Did
I tell you about the thing that really enraged me just recently? I tried to go back and play Destiny 2 with Ashley because we went through Destiny 1. She loved it. I found out they vaulted the first and second story arcs from Destiny 2. It jumps you right into like I think it's one of the later seasons.
Oh no!
But like, yeah, the war arcs with all those things, it's just all gone. When I first started the game, I'm like, what the hell?
Like you can't even do them.
Can't even do them.
Wow.
I try to get back on there and like, what the hell is this? You're at like light level 1,600, and you're like the story doesn't even make sense because you're replaying a lot of like Destiny 1. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, that's weird.
Because the Traveler's not there all of a sudden, and you're not in the tower anymore. Like to a newcomer going from Destiny 1 to this, they're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, I would be totally lost.
Yeah, but like those entire story arcs are just gone.
That's wonky as hell.
I'm like, what the hell, Bungie?
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, we were both just kind of like in a fit about that. Like, what the crap, man? So once again, nod to the old games. At least they don't do that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But I get it. They're trying to not clog up the servers because they were like, I guess it freed up a whole bunch of space is really the big thing with that.
You know what is weird about old games that is kind of like, I guess, a parallel you could draw with that is that some of them, like the cartridges, there's like different versions of them, like different release versions, even of like the same, of the same game. So like you could have like the first gen release of, let's just say Mortal Kombat for argument's sake. I can't remember. There's a few that are like specifically known for this, but they escape me right now, where like they might have a different glitch that doesn't exist in this one, or I can't remember. I wish I could remember what game it is, but it's like way harder, like the original release cartridge of it. Yeah, and there's some way to tell, but I can't remember. And then like the later ones, like because it was so hard and people like bitched about it, they're easier.
Wow. The one game that kind of comes to mind when I think about that type of stuff was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. That was a big one that was like everybody wanted to rent. Apparently, there was a special edition for like a first release one. Was a gold cartridge.
Yeah.
The rest of them are all gray cartridges because I mean they still like a million of those things. But the biggest difference between the two in that pre-release one, there's this weapon in the game called the Mirror Shield, where basically Link gets this like shield that like reflects everything, and in the first edition released one, he's actually got a crescent moon looking shield, which is really cool, but it pissed off the Islamic community.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Like because of the backlash they got from that, they changed the main game, and it's got like some weird kind of like a Deku symbol or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I know it's like a different symbol, but it's no longer like the crescent moon logo. I'm like, that's wild, but I've got that game. And it's like,
you have the gold one?
Yeah, I've got the gold one, the original. And then if I pop in the N64 or the GameCube port of that game, it's the original game, and it's got like the regular, Deku thing. It doesn't have the crescent moon, which I thought was so crazy.
That is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of stuff like that you don't get that anymore because, like you said, it's gone. You can't even play those storylines anymore.
Exactly.
And I think Destiny's one of the ones where you legit can't play it unless you're online, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just you just can't play. It's just gone.
Yep. That's what I mean. It said it's been quote unquote vaulted. They said so. I'm just like, I don't know what that means. Like, are they going to bring it back out again?
Did people just like not like them?
I thought it was a great story.
Storylines, they're trash, or
yeah. I remember Kevin was talking about that. He said like he didn't like the war arc with it's the guys from Mars. I don't know what they call them.
Yeah,
the big stocky guys.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
Yeah, but that whole like I remember they advertised like crazy for that thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, and now it's like a non-factor. Like, oh yeah, stuff happened. Don't worry about it. Let's just glance over.
Take your gear and shut up.
Let's just skip a couple of chapters of this book, and we'll begin at the very end of the book. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Weird.
So, but getting along those similar lines, I remember one game series I loved was Assassin's Creed. When that came out, the first game is kind of a mulligan because I guess it kind of ties in the story, but not really. But Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and Assassin's Creed 3 all had a very like intertwining story. The rest of them are just like, what the fuck?
I remember really liking the first one until the ending. I hated the ending of that game, probably because I was like young and like didn't really appreciate a cliffhanger. But I remember that shit pissing me off so bad.
I'm trying to remember how that game ended.
You get the whatever it's called, because you're looking for, what was it, the Apple of Eden or some shit?
Yeah, it's all about, it's like, it's got different cultural and religious artifacts, and like, yeah, apparently the Apple of Eden was some like super mystical object that granted you like superhuman powers.
And so you find it back in the memories, I think.
Yeah, because you're traveling back through a guy's DNA to like playing as his past ancestors.
And then you come out of it, and the main like doctor guy, he's like, surprise, I actually am a bad guy this whole time, and like,
and his
get fucked, Miles.
Right. And his assistant actually turns out to be like part of the assassins to help you out and get you out of there.
And then it just like ends. And you're like,
Yeah, what's going on?
Get to wait 2 more years to play the next chapter. That's awesome.
Although, I will say that's probably my pantheon of greatest games. Assassin's Creed 2. That game is so freaking good. Oh my god.
Yeah, that one got a lot of accolades.
I remember there was what is it? It's the Saint something or other flags, like all the different collectibles in that first game.
Yeah.
I ended up getting that achievement point. I remember I was like beyond elated. I'm just like, I've got them all, because nobody else, like, it would take so fucking long to try and find it. And that's like back in the days where, like, before strategy guides, or just as strategy guides were becoming more of a thing, and it would take you hours to find every single annoying flag in the game and the Templars. So you had to hunt down. Oh my god.
Well, one of the things that I think kind of hamstrung me, and maybe you to a point as well, but like when we were younger and even into like through high school, like I didn't have fast internet at my house. Like I had dial-up until I was in college, and I know you guys had faster internet probably like middle school.
I think so. Probably going into my high school years, I think we got a little bit better because we ended up getting Xbox Live, and it was nothing to write home about, but like it was still like the type of thing where it's like you pick up the phone, you're boned.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that it could be harder for things like the Assassin's Creed stuff or like guides like that, because like you have no access to it unless you want to go and spend $20, $25 on an actual guide at GameStop, if they even have it in stock. So like, yeah, you're just kind of like screwed on some of that stuff.
That's why I was so happy and proud about that achievement. I'm like, I've got them all. Oh my god, so good.
I didn't get that one.
Yeah, it takes so freaking long.
Yeah, I remember. I think Blake might have got it too, but he was like, "It's not worth it."
I'm sure Damien's got it. Damien,
I'm sure he does.
This guy's literally got like almost, if not already, probably close to 1 million gamer score on Xbox, which is just absolutely unfathomable.
Yeah,
like the guy just literally he just eats, lives, and breathes games for a living.
He has to.
Like, always online. I don't know how he does anything.
He probably works like part-time.
I'm telling you.
Lives with like 3 other dudes and just plays games.
To be that
goes to work for like 4 hours a day. I don't know.
Sheesh. Yeah, I remember just like looking at the score and I'm just like, my jaws dropped. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How do you have that much time?
Right, yeah.
Ugh. I remember I always pride myself when like the achievement point system came out for Xbox. I thought it was so cool. It's like, wow. It's like no point to go back and play these old games now. You can actually play for a purpose. Like you're building for your overall gamer score.
Yeah, that was we had a lot of fun with that.
Mm-hmm. I remember finally getting a fully maxed out game. I was just like, this is awesome. I think I maxed out Oblivion.
Avatar? Oblivion.
Avatar was another one. Avatar's the easiest. You basically plop this game. It's like Avatar Burning Earth or something. You hit an enemy for like 100 times in a row, and you get 1,000 gamer score.
Yeah,
like,
that was so good.
Such a cheese. That and Donkey Kong. Or not Donkey Kong, but King Kong.
Oh, yeah,
There was a King Kong game where like, you play through and you automatically get 1,000 gamer score. I'm like, yeah, that's easy.
That was a bit rough, though, because that game was actually like...
challenging.
Not even so much challenging. It was like a slog. It was long. I feel like it was longer than it should have been.
Yeah.
And it did have some parts that were kind of hard, if I remember right. Because like, you had like a gun and like spears.
Yeah. I think you had Jack Black running around in the game too.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It actually like really wasn't a terrible game.
Yeah.
Though.
It's very dated though, because that came out right when the Xbox, I think 360 originally aired. So it was back in what, 06?
Yeah, probably.
Sounds about right. But that's the one where Oblivion, who I was just talking about in our last podcast with Kevin, was, oh my God, that game sucked up a ton of time. I probably burned out a few Xboxes too with the whole Red Ring of Death. That was, and that turned you off from Xbox for a while. Probably ever more from that thing.
You know, that's kind of whatever. Mm-hmm. It was more to me like, I remember when was it 1? Is that the last one?
The Xbox One, yeah, because now we got the Xbox Series X is the new one.
Just like all the marketing around it made it feel to me that the focus wasn't really on the games. It was like a multimedia center. Like, oh, you can watch like live football games on this, and you can like record these clips and blah 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 blah. I was like, that's cool, but like I don't have time to be fucking around with all that.
Right.
Like I just want
extra
to play
stuff.
good games with my friends or by myself or whatever. And I thought that like they're all like highly commercial and stuff, but like I thought that the customer service kind of sucked with Xbox and Xbox Live, and I thought that they were just trying to nickel and dime you with every little goddamn thing. So I was like, I don't even want to entertain this anymore.
Yep. I will say, since I picked up the Xbox Game Pass, which has been kind of cool, like instead of buying a gold membership every month or every year for like a set price, like I think it's been around like $70 or $100. with Game Pass, you already get games included, and I think that's the way they're going to go in the future. It's just everything will be like, a digital game you just download. So, but I kind of like that. But now word's going around of like, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but supposedly Xbox is actually like discontinuing. So
Game Pass?
No, just like discontinuing. Like they're just going to operate only under Game Pass, but you can basically do it through the PC or probably even through PlayStation in the future.
Like they're not going to make any more consoles?
No more consoles. That's one rumor I've been hearing. So I'm not sure if that's 100% confirmed.
I feel like they got to make so much money off the consoles.
You'd
Why would
think.
they get rid of them?
I don't know.
Unless they just integrate it into like PCs, like you said, and
that's like what I'm thinking, because they already have like a bunch of stuff like with their heavy hitter Halo.
Yeah.
When they put Halo on the PC, I'm sure it's going like fantastic over there compared to the consoles. Be, yeah. I don't know if it's cross-platform or not too.
I don't know.
I have to look it up.
You would have to think so at this point, but I guess you never know.
Yeah. Halo's a far cry from where it was, though. That's a whole different. I mean, I had that pod with Kevin.
Yeah.
So we could probably get another episode of that going on in the future here, too. Like I said, he's the guy to talk to about that stuff. But yeah, you kind of got tired from Halo after a while.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy 4 at all. But I will say, for me, I feel like it's maybe a little bit different than you guys. Like, I think that you guys really enjoy, especially Kevin, the story.
Oh, yeah.
Aspect of it, and like the campaign where like I didn't give a shit about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I played Halo 2's campaign and really liked it.
Yeah.
But, like I didn't play the first one, so I had no idea really what was going on. I'm just like, this game looks cool. The multiplayer is fun as fuck. Like I'm getting it. And so the multiplayer for me was always the focus. So
yep.
I thought 3 was great. I think Reach is the best one. Don't at me. And then 4, I was like, this sucks. This is like they just tried to make Halo Call of Duty. Like they had loadouts and like kill streak rewards and stuff, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, everybody was calling it Call of Halo back then,
and that
really was.
That just turned me off to it.
And honestly, I think that's the case for a lot of former Halo players, because they just got so tired of just like, what are you doing, 343?
Yeah,
because I always said there's just a faction of fans that are hardcore campaign players, and other hardcore faction of Halo players that are all multiplayer fans. So Halo tries to balance that fine line of trying to appease to both. And yeah, Halo 4's multiplayer I thought was kind of utter garbage. So
yeah,
it was just, like you said, more Call of Duty like.
I mean, it was fun. It was fine, but it just didn't feel like Halo anymore. And I was like, well, if this is what you're going to shift the product to, and you're going to lose, the identity of it, why would I play this when Call of Duty's already doing it better over here?
Right.
I'll just go play that instead.
The most damning indictment of that thing was, remember how many LAN parties I used to have with Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3? I cannot recall a single time we had a Halo 4 LAN party. I don't think we ever did.
No, I doubt
Or even played on, I mean, maybe I might have played online, but like no LAN parties for Halo 4.
Probably not, because I mean, that was post-Reach.
Yeah.
So that would have been 2013 probably. And like, a lot of us were in college at that point. Yeah.
But still, we still had a few more Halo LAN parties, I think, going up until 2016. But even so, like, that's kind of damning on, Halo 4. That it really didn't feel like a true Halo.
Yeah.
And even when Ash and I played through the whole thing, because we played through the Master Chief Collection, played through ODST and Reach and everything, she said Halo 4 did not feel like a Halo game.
Yeah, so, it's weird.
So I feel like they 343 kind of missed the mark there. But
that was the first one they did, right?
I think so. I don't know if they dabbled into Halo ODST as well.
They might have.
Or a little bit into Reach. But I thought Bungie had control over Reach. And that was like their last one before they jumped ship over to making Destiny. And now, coincidentally, like they used to be partners with Microsoft. Now they work for Sony. Or I think completely bought out by Sony. I'm just like flipping the script.
They might have been. Yeah, I don't know.
That's wild.
I mean, I know they leaned heavy into Sony with Destiny 1. Because my PS4 is like the Destiny release.
I was going to say, they had a Destiny release, PlayStation.
Which was, like, I'm still kind of butthurt about this. There was nothing special about it.
Really?
It was just white. It just came with a copy of Destiny. It didn't have, like, anything, like, marked
special,
on it.
Like, music or anything like that? Or like
it might have had a theme. Like the home screen thing. It might have come with one of those. But other than that, like nothing special on the controller, on the console.
Just all aesthetics.
It wasn't even installed on it. It came with the fucking disc.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was kind of pissed me off. But
I feel like those things have kind of gone downhill. Like, okay, do you remember like pre-ordering stuff, they would throw in all kinds of crazy shit for like pre-orders. Like for Halo 3, they gave me the massive Master Chief helmet, which is awesome. Still got that upstairs in my office. But those little add-ons they would have, like I think there was a Lord of the Rings game that came with an arrow quiver of all things.
Probably. They went
awesome.
That was a trend in like the mid 2000s and 2010s.
Yeah.
Like collector's editions of games, pre-ordering games, getting shit.
Fallout was like that. You actually had like
the
the little Pip-Boy. Oh my God, never got one. Always wanted one. It looked awesome.
I think my friend Wyatt had it.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
You could hook your phone up to it too, couldn't you?
I don't remember. Probably.
Yeah. It was wild.
I think God of War 3 had a really dope one too.
Did they?
And I know that God of War, what is effectively God of War 4, had a really cool one too. That came with like a statue of Kratos, and I think, Atreus.
I think didn't Skyrim have something like that too? I thought there was like a big like dragon wall or something like that with a dragon you could kind of pin on top. I'm like, holy crap!
Probably. It's a huge miss if they didn't.
Right? Yeah, that game. Oh my God, I'd go on forever about Skyrim. But yeah, all those little add-on packs and extra incentives. I think didn't Call of Duty actually have like night vision glasses?
Ooh, they might have
for one of theirs. I don't know if it was the third one or the second one.
I feel like it was Modern Warfare 3.
Mm-hmm.
Had that.
Had the little night vision glasses. So good.
Yeah.
I miss those days. Bring those back. Oh my God.
Yeah, some of them still do. I mean, Doom Eternal had a pretty crazy one, if I remember right.
What did they have?
It was like the Doomslayer helmet, I think, and like a bunch of other bullshit. And then I actually bought the big one for the Doom 2016, and it came with a like a figure. It was probably like 18 or 20 inches tall of one of the Revenant guys, the skeletons with the rocket launchers.
Cool.
So that thing's pretty cool. I can't remember if I still have it or if I might have given it away when I moved, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, God, I
but
miss those
it's
days.
rare. It's rare anymore.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around. You had the original, Halo Xbox, like the green one. Did you actually buy that, like over at Toys R Us or something, or where'd you get that?
No, I traded it. I don't know why. It was 8th grade. Jake Frank.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why he didn't like it, but as far as I know, it had the same amount of memory and everything that like my regular black one had, and he was just like, "Do you want to trade me for the green one?" And I was like, "It works fine." He was like, "Yeah, I just don't like it. I just want one of the black ones." And I was like, "Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
I'll
trade you."
God,
yeah. So that's how I came into that.
Mistakes were made.
The only thing that like was weird about it was the controller that it came with. Like it had like the wire had started to like split, so he had it taped up. But other than that, it was fine, and it always worked fine for me.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's the Halo edition. I mean,
yeah.
Even out of the box, that thing's still going for pretty good money right now. Like I saw one over at like
because I got shafted when I traded that thing in.
Oh, people are trying to sell it for like $200 right now. Yeah, I know that. I'm just like, good Lord.
It must not have been as rare as I thought it was when I went to sell it. But
I guess there's like there's a Japanese one that's actually a translucent blue, which looks really cool.
Oh, really? I've never seen that one.
So yeah, there's a blue original Xbox.
I had a translucent blue controller.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
So I remember the translucent thing started, I feel like, with the N64. Like
that's really like a late 90s, early 2000s trend.
It was.
Like I had a TV that was like that too.
Oh yeah.
And those Macs, remember those Macs?
Mm-hmm. I remember like all the Game Boy colors too.
Oh
the
yeah.
Game Boy. Oh my gosh. I ended up having a little turquoise blue one. That was my first ever like really handheld game.
I wanted that color one.
Really?
I was always jealous of everybody that had that one. I had the yellow one.
Oh, that's cool.
And I wanted the turquoise one really bad.
I don't know anybody who had the red or the pink one.
No, me neither.
Yeah, because I feel like I've seen Mark had the atomic purple. I had the green one and the blue one for a while. I still got a green one. I think it's Ashley's, so we've still got that one. But my blue one, I don't know where the hell it went. Maybe Ryan has it or Jeremy.
Maybe.
Or maybe it got lost in the GameStop shuffle.
Could be.
It's a shame.
Could be.
Many good moments and memories and items lost to that ridiculous store.
Yeah. You know, the first time I went to a GameStop, they were still selling Super Nintendo
oh my gosh.
games in there.
They used to sell VHS tapes too once upon a time. That and DVDs. Yeah. That was wild.
Oh, DVDs. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
GameStop
way back
had
then.
DVDs, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
And they had stuff for cheap because that was like
oh yeah
in that weird like pocket for things where like they're not quite vintage, but they're also
on the cusp.
Not really new anymore. So like you could same thing with like flea markets. I got so many Super Nintendo games so cheap
Oh, yeah.
from going to like Rogers back in the day before.
Yeah, because they weren't a collectible just yet, but boy, you could buy a ton of them for like pennies on the dollar.
Well, not only that, but like, this was probably like 2004, 2006, somewhere in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So that, people didn't have the internet in their pocket all the time. So people didn't know what they had.
Exactly.
So I remember going there and getting like, even then, like there were Super Nintendo games that were expensive or like, $50-$60 and getting it for like $5 or $10 because people just didn't know what they had.
Exactly. And it's just like, I'm buying that.
And the last time I went, it's been probably 5 years since I went, but the last time I went, there were still people that had some of that stuff, but they're like, Super Nintendo, $200. Like, well, what the,
right.
What are we doing here? Like,
trying to buy a used copy for that much. Get out of here.
Yeah. But, so that's something that I do really miss because those were good times.
Oh, yeah.
But even GameStop, you could buy them still pretty cheap from there as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, they only go back so far with GameStop today because, do they even sell 360s there anymore?
Ooh, I don't know.
That's what I mean. So,
speaking of, though, I saw a 360 for sale at Target, of all places, the
really?
other day. Yeah, they were just like 2 boxed up 360s sitting out. They weren't in a case or anything. They were sitting out on a shelf, and they were like $80 or something. And I was like, man, I kind of want to buy one of these just to have it.
I saw something. I don't know if it was an actual one or not, but it's like a Mega Bloks N6 or Xbox 360. I'm like, is this thing legit or is this just like some big glorified hunk of like plastic put together?
I don't know.
Never seen that. Mega Bloks Red Ring of Death.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That'd be funny as hell.
Oh my god,
it's just a Mega Bloks set that you build and then it's got a light in there to turn that on.
I think I burned through about I know 2 Xboxes had the Ring of Death for me because I bought an arcade console first and the Elite console. Both those burned out, or I think, those eventually both burned out on me. I think I gave you the hard drive of my Elite console.
That sounds right.
Kevin ended up basically offing my Elite with a shotgun. So he just put it on the stump in his backyard and just fired a few rounds right into the motherboard.
Yeah.
So that thing's basically put to pasture.
I think I had 3 because my first one, so it wasn't the full ring. It was that stupid E74, I think it was, which was the video card dying.
Oh, yeah, that was a whole different thing.
Yeah. So my first one had that, and then Matt, my cousin, I remember he sold me one when because at the time E74 wasn't covered. They wouldn't pay for it. And so he had one that had been red ringed, and he sent it in, and for whatever reason, he convinced his mom, while it was getting fixed, she bought him another one. So he sold me
the old refurbished one?
The one that came back when mine was like, oh, we're not going to replace it. And then they started replacing them. So I sent that one in. So I had 2 for a minute.
Nice.
But then it ended up taking a shit anyways. And then the third one that I had did eventually die from the actual red ring back in 2018, I think.
Yep.
And we smashed it with a hammer.
It's a rite of passage. So every original Xbox 360 owner probably went through that at one point or another. But the later edition Xbox 360s, they rectify the problem. The ones that don't have the double concavity look to them, I think, what is it, the 3rd and 4th iteration of it,
the smaller ones,
they're fine.
Yeah.
So, and I've actually got the R2-D2 one with that. And that one's actually kind of cool. You press it and it makes the all the little bebops from it.
Yeah, that's fun.
That was good. So I'm glad we picked that one up. That was on my birthday, I think. Years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But getting back to the N64 translucent one, I remember my first N64 I bought, this is towards the last half a year before it became obsolete to the GameCube. I ended up buying a translucent orange N64, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah, I thought that one was really cool. I had the green one, the translucent green one.
Yep, the jungle green.
Yeah.
So good. I've seen a couple other ones, too. I kind of want to get the purple one. Looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, match my Raven stuff upstairs.
Yeah.
So,
I always wanted the Pikachu one, the Pokemon one.
Oh, yeah. That's a cool one.
Yeah.
That and the little Game Boy SP Pokemon edition.
Yeah.
That thing looked cool.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably going to wrap it up here. So,
all right.
But thank you, Shawn, for joining me. It's been
My
so much fun going down memory lane.
Yep.
We'll have many more little conversations like this and more future pods with Shawn on. So, glad you could join me. Thank you. So, all right, everybody. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode of It All Depends on the Situation. Take it easy.